Alex had a plan, a very serious plan. Tomorrow, he was going to change his life. He would wake up at 6 o'clock, go for a run, take a cold shower, read 20 pages, eat healthy, work without distractions, and somehow become a completely new person before breakfast. So Alex did what every future millionaire does at 11:47 at night. He watched productivity videos in bed for 2 hours. Then he set 7 alarms, just in case. The next morning, the first alarm rang. Alex opened one eye, 6 o'clock. He looked at the ceiling, and suddenly, the man who wanted to conquer the world had one very important thought. Maybe tomorrow. He turned off the alarm, then the second, then the third. By alarm number 5, it had become personal. At 8:36, Alex finally woke up. No run, no reading, no cold shower, unless standing under slightly cool water for 12-second counts. But he wasn't worried because today was Monday, and everybody knows Monday is basically a practice day. Tuesday would be different, except Tuesday wasn't different. Neither was Wednesday, and by Friday, Alex's perfect new life had been moved to next Monday. This is where something strange happened. Alex started thinking he had a discipline problem. Maybe he was lazy. Maybe successful people had something he didn't. Maybe somewhere out there was a mysterious group of people who woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning smiling, which is suspicious by itself. But Alex was wrong. The real problem started long before the alarm rang. A few weeks earlier, Alex had watched a video of a guy talking about discipline. The guy had perfect abs, a perfect office, a perfect morning routine, and for some reason, no curtains. He said the secret was simple: do hard things. So Alex wrote down everything he wanted to change. Wake up early, train every day, stop eating junk food, read more, work harder, use his phone less, save money, sleep earlier, drink more water, meditate, learn a new skill, and probably become fluent in Japanese by Thursday. The list looked amazing for about 10 minutes. Then Alex tried to live it. Day 1 went surprisingly well. He woke up early, he exercised, he made eggs instead of ordering breakfast. He even left his phone in another room while working. Alex felt unstoppable. This was it. The old Alex was gone. New Alex had arrived. New Alex lasted until 3:42 in the afternoon. That was when he got tired, his work became boring, his phone was nearby, and one short break became 27 minutes of watching videos about people restoring rusty knives. He didn't even own a knife. The next day was harder. The day after that was worse. And by day 4, the perfect routine had collapsed. So Alex did what people often do after failing a giant plan. He created an even bigger plan, this time with a spreadsheet, because nothing says my life is under control like 12 color-coded boxes. But the result was the same, and that's when Alex noticed something. Every time he tried to become disciplined, he treated discipline like a test, one big test of willpower. Either he followed the plan perfectly, or he failed, and Alex failed a lot. But then, one evening, something tiny happened. He came home tired, he was supposed to exercise, he really didn't want to, and the couch was right there, soft, warm, supportive, basically his best friend. Alex stood in the middle of the room, wearing gym clothes, and started negotiating with himself. Okay, 30 minutes? No. 20. Still no. 10. His brain rejected the offer. So Alex tried something stupid. 1 push-up. That's it, 1. He got on the floor, did 1 push-up, then another, then 5, then 10, and somehow 20 minutes later, he had finished a workout. Not because he suddenly became motivated, nothing magical happened. No music started playing, nobody clapped. He just made the first step so small that his brain had nothing to argue with. And that changed something. The next morning, instead of telling himself to read 20 pages, Alex opened the book and read 1 page. At work, instead of saying, I need to focus for 3 hours, he started with 10 minutes. Instead of telling himself, I can't use my phone tonight, he put it on the other side of the room for half an hour. This felt almost too easy, which made Alex suspicious. If discipline was supposed to feel painful, was this cheating? A few days later, he noticed something even stranger. Starting was getting easier. The workout still wasn't always fun. Work was still work. Books didn't suddenly become action movies. But the fight before starting was smaller. And that fight was where most of Alex's energy had been going. Think about it. You don't usually spend 30 minutes deciding whether to brush your teeth. You don't sit on the edge of your bed at night whispering, "Come on, Alex, you can do this. Believe in yourself. Brush those teeth." You just do it. Why? Because there's almost no decision left. It's automatic. And this is where discipline starts to look very different. Most people imagine a disciplined person waking up every morning and winning an epic battle against themselves. But the really disciplined people often have fewer battles. They don't wake up and ask, "Should I train today?" Training is just what happens at 7 o'clock. They don't decide every night whether to study. The book is already on the desk. The phone is somewhere else. The choice has been made before the moment arrives. Alex had spent years trying to become better at resisting temptation. Now he started removing temptation instead. He deleted one social media app from his phone. Not all of them. He wasn't joining a monastery, just one. He stopped keeping snacks on his desk because apparently the best way to avoid eating 6 cookies is not having 6 cookies 2 centimeters from your hand. Revolutionary science. He placed his gym shoes next to the door. He charged his phone across the room at night. He opened the document he needed for work before going to bed. Tiny changes, nothing impressive, nothing you could make a dramatic movie trailer about, but they worked. Then came the first real test. A bad day. Alex overslept. He missed his workout. Work was stressful. He ordered food, then spent an hour watching nonsense on his phone. At 11 o'clock that night, Alex looked at his routine. Almost everything had failed, and the old version of Alex knew exactly what came next. Well, today is ruined. I'll start again Monday. But this time he didn't. He did something much less exciting. He read 1 page, then went to sleep. That was it, 1 page. The day was still bad, but the bad day didn't become 2 bad days. And that turned out to be more important than Alex expected. Because 1 missed workout doesn't destroy your body. 1 expensive meal doesn't destroy your finances. 1 lazy evening doesn't destroy your career. The dangerous part is what happens next. You miss 1 day, then you feel guilty, so you avoid the thing again. Then 2 days become 4, become 2 weeks, and suddenly you're standing in the kitchen 3 months later wondering why the vegetables in your fridge have developed their own civilization. Alex started using a simple rule. Miss once? Fine. Miss twice? Danger. Not because 2 days magically destroy progress, but because 2 days can become a new pattern. If he skipped the gym on Tuesday, he made sure to do something on Wednesday. Even if it was small, if he wasted an evening, the next morning he did 10 focus minutes before checking his phone. If he spent more money than planned, he didn't say, "Well, this month is ruined." He just made the next decision better. Slowly, Alex stopped thinking in perfect days and started thinking in returns. How quickly can I return? That was the real skill, not never falling off but getting back on. A month passed. Alex wasn't waking up at 5 o'clock. He still hated cold showers. He still sometimes spent 20 minutes watching random videos. He's human. But something had changed. His room was cleaner. He was training more often. His work was getting done earlier. He was reading regularly. And the weirdest part? It didn't feel like he was using more discipline. It felt like he was using less, because the system was doing some of the work for him. Then Alex remembered the guy from the productivity video. The perfect office, the perfect body, the dramatic speech about doing hard things. And he realized something. Maybe discipline isn't about making life harder. Maybe it's about making the right thing easier. We often imagine self-control like a battery. Every temptation uses a little power. Don't eat the cookie. Don't check the phone. Don't skip the workout. Don't buy the thing. Don't open another video. Eventually, that battery gets tired, and then your brain starts making deals. You've worked hard today. You deserve it. Just 5 minutes, 1 episode, 1 pizza, 1 small purchase. Your brain is basically a lawyer who works for your worst decisions. So Alex stopped giving that lawyer so many cases. If he needed to focus, the phone left the room. If he wanted to train in the morning, his clothes were ready at night. If he wanted to spend less, he stopped browsing shopping apps when bored. If he wanted to read, the book went on his pillow, which created another problem. If he forgot to read, he had to move a book before sleeping. Very advanced technology. And then something else happened. After a few months, Alex stopped feeling proud every time he followed the routine. At first, that seemed bad, but it wasn't. It meant the routine was becoming normal. Imagine learning to drive. At first, you're thinking about everything: mirrors, pedals, speed, hands, signs, that guy behind you who apparently thinks the horn makes traffic disappear. It's exhausting. Then, after enough repetition, you stop thinking about every movement. You just drive. Discipline works in a similar way. At first, every action feels like a decision. Later, it becomes part of your day. But Alex still had one problem. Some days, he genuinely didn't feel like doing anything. Not because he was lazy, he was just tired. And this is where his old discipline mindset would have told him, push harder. Instead, Alex started asking a different question. What's the smallest version I can do today? Full workout? Maybe not. 10 minutes? Yes. Read 30 pages? No. Read 2? Fine. Work for 3 hours? Impossible. Open a project and finish one task? Possible. And something surprising happened. Sometimes the small version stayed small. 10 minutes was just 10 minutes. 2 pages were just 2 pages. And that was okay, because the goal wasn't to prove how tough Alex was. The goal was to keep the connection alive, to make tomorrow easier. This is where most people accidentally destroy their own discipline. They make the minimum too big. If the plan says 1 hour at the gym, then 40 minutes feels like failure. If the plan says 20 pages, 5 feels pointless. If the goal is perfect eating, 1 burger becomes a disaster. And once you failed, why stop? You've already eaten the burger. Might as well eat fries and dessert, and somehow order garlic bread for emotional support. Alex stopped doing that. He created 2 versions of his habits: the full version and the bad day version. Workout, 30 minutes. Bad day workout, 5 minutes. Reading, 20 pages. Bad day reading, 1 page. Focused work, 90 minutes. Bad day focus, 10. The bad day version looked almost silly. That was the point, because discipline didn't need to survive Alex's best days. Those were easy. It needed to survive the days when everything went wrong. Then, one Saturday morning, Alex noticed the biggest change. There was no alarm, no productivity video, no motivational quote. He woke up, made coffee, sat at his desk, and started working. Then he stopped because something felt strange. A year earlier, this would have required a full negotiation. Now he had started before even thinking about it. And that's when Alex finally understood what he'd been getting wrong. He thought discipline was a personality. Some people had it, some didn't. He thought disciplined people were just stronger, more serious, more motivated. But discipline wasn't a personality. It was a collection of boring little choices repeated until they stopped feeling like choices. Put the phone away, do 5 minutes, prepare things early, return after a bad day, make the minimum smaller, repeat. That's it. No secret morning routine, no military music, no screaming at yourself in the mirror, and definitely no need to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning unless your job involves baking bread or chasing chickens. A few weeks later, Alex missed another workout, then another. Life happened, but this time he didn't panic. He didn't tell himself he'd lost discipline. He just returned, because that was the part he'd finally learned. Discipline isn't never failing. It's making failure small. One bad day, not one bad month. One missed workout, not quitting. One wasted evening, not becoming a new lifestyle. And maybe that's why discipline looks so powerful from the outside. You see someone after 5 years, healthy, skilled, calm, successful, and you imagine thousands of heroic decisions. But most of the time, it wasn't heroic, it was boring. They just kept coming back again and again and again until the thing that once required discipline became normal. So if you're waiting for the day when you finally feel motivated enough to change everything, You may be waiting for a long time, Alex did. The better question is much smaller. What's one thing you can make easier to do tomorrow? Not 10 things. 1. Put the shoes by the door, move the phone away, open the book, prepare the file, do 5 minutes. Because your life probably won't change on the day you suddenly become disciplined. It'll change on a completely normal day, when you do the small thing again, and then again, until one day you look back and realize you're not trying to become disciplined anymore. You just are. And if you like stories that make complicated ideas feel simple, you can subscribe. Alex still has a lot to figure out, especially those 7 alarms.